a bunch of stuff you peddle in, yelling like a crazy radio host, about, the collapse of everything. There is something actually more measured about Mike and, more, I think, genuine from what I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But his stuff is hard though, isn't it? It's very tough because his address, there was one, I think this time last year, an address at a university, about an hour and a bit, maybe longer, that was, we're past the peak. This is it. This is what we're doing. It's, you have to admit it to yourself. He's been right about most things,
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, and the thing is, when I'm watching it, I kind of feel really bad for having to take it slowly, because I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, I've actually, I've gone so far over the last, about 2.5 years since I came across the movement. I've seen so much and learnt so much. Surely I can, but it's like it's so hard hitting what Mike has to say. Yeah. And because he's developed that resilience, I'm thinking surely I should be able to take it, but I realize that because I'm a human just like everyone else.
I think it probably takes a lot of practice, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the side projects he's got, man. He's a musician on the side as well. Like Peter. I think that's something that probably people do because when you're dealing with this stuff, you've got to have an outlet, and music's a good one.
Absolutely.
And what else? He also does dancing as well, as far as I know. At least
really?
That's what he says on Facebook. He sounds like a fun guy, man. Yeah. But anyway, you gotta be measured. You gotta be all right when you do this stuff. And look, this is quite important because this is your final point, which is knowledge and wisdom, right? What kind of knowledge and wisdom are we talking? We're talking about, I think you can define, I mean, knowledge is easily defined. You can say that's a knowable item, a set or base of rules and understandings about the world or a particular system or history or something, some cultural artifact. The kind of knowledge that is really wisdom, if you like, is knowing what the boundaries are of what we can possibly know and trying to at least get to those boundaries. And if in a world where everything's connected properly, where there is freedom of movement, there aren't, peasant states that are essentially locked into a giant prison. In that kind of society, naturally, people want to learn about everywhere in the world. So education is going to be defined as global. It will be global because we're talking about the globe. We have to live on the globe. Everything that is mutually effective upon society is essentially global in the sense that it's available anywhere, from 3D printing all the way through to different kinds of software, through to, general, theatrical, you can have like theaters and cinemas and stuff,
Absolutely.
You don't have to dictate this stuff. That's the stuff that happens in spite of the system. And so you would end up with a very rich tapestry of wisdom, a huge amount of knowledge that grows, near exponentially, if not quicker. And which would all be around essentially enrichment and would, I think, yield to actually produce quite a lot of interesting new products. I don't think it's going to be a productless society.
There's still going to be
phones being thrown away. It doesn't mean there's not going to be stuff, and not wasting so much means there could be way more. It could be incredible stuff based on discoveries that we've made through being educated properly about what is possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's the sort of thing when I tell people about a resource-based economy, it's the difficult line we have to walk to try and almost in a way sort of like catch them as they fall either side of this line that they're walking. They sort of we need to sort of like almost guide them along it, saying no, it's not that, so don't go over that side. Oh no, it's not that either. So and as we describe it, it's like, I don't know, but I like my stuff. We're not saying we're not going to take away your stuff.
As Aaron Moritz did in that video, as the Zeitgeist movement exploded. Yeah, throw people's stuff away. Yeah, take people's stuff. It's such but you know what? Look, it goes back to that whole thing about, basically society owing you for the first bit of labour you do, and therefore everything you do afterwards. It's, tit for tat, with tit definitely coming first, right? And, it feeds through to this as well. It feeds through to people not really understanding, in this kind of society, would it really be me doing okay? I mean, it wouldn't be, all of that kind of negative stuff that we've got now. And we're suffering from a giant case of Stockholm Syndrome. We've held ourselves hostage in a financial system that demands that hostage taking go up every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
More extreme. Obviously, when you're talking to them about any other system, the first association any of us have is, oh my God, tyranny. Because it saturates, even on any kind of level, it saturates the way that you think about anything other. Because, the conditioning requires a certain defense of the present system. And I would also say that that's probably true of a resource-based economy too. Think about it this way. You have a set of people who are reinforcing each other about positive values. What do we mean by positive values? We've already covered that we know what positive means in society. So that's right, and more, of course. And they're, of course, reinforcing each other, and this sort of dovetails back to control. You end up with knowledge being exchanged in sets of values as well. Values are knowledge too. It's, by the way, if we pollute everything, we're all going to die. That's knowledge, right? Yeah. Hence, behave a certain way that's sustainable, and hence you have certain respect for certain processes and all the rest of it. That is going to be a thing that preserves the system. That's the self-preservation that a resource-based economy has, is good influence upon other things. Everything is influence. Everything is. There's no such thing as a non-influenced human being or a non-influenced environment. Everything has an effect on everything else, because we're talking about interactions here. We have to have those to have a society, right? And even if we didn't have a so-called society, we'd still have to interact with 7 billion other human beings, right? In some way.
That's true.
It's never not going to be that. That is a form of control, but it's a form of control that is redefining control, not as something where you're deliberately imposing a subservient set of values that make you valuable to me as a worker, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
It's the kind of control that controls the society in a way that a thermostat controls a house. It's to do with making it comfortable, and those are the mechanisms we use to keep it comfortable without having to do it manually all the time. And doing it manually is essentially charity work. Behaving like that is a manual process of looking after people when society should be. By society, we don't mean just make it a certain set of people. We're talking about integrated processes. So, that's how we have to shed the Stockholm Syndrome. Understand that, of course, we feel that way.
Yeah, it's the knowledge that actually breeds its own wisdom. I mean, when I thought of this point to include in the talking points for this show, I was reminded of a scene from, I think it's Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where there's one character that says to Obi-Wan, it says, "I thought you Jedi knew the difference between knowledge and wisdom," and it is a relevant point, because we, as a culture, we tend to pride ourselves on the fact that we have such availability of knowledge, and we, even I saw just a short blurb about a article that was linked on Facebook earlier about Sweden recognizing a certain religion where the sharing of information.
That's right. It's file sharing is a religion now. That's right.
Yeah. It was that, and
after 2 unsuccessful attempts, they got that through. That's great, isn't it?
Really?
I'm a member of that church, by the way.
Oh, really?
You can sign up to, there's a Facebook page you can like. It's not actually I don't think there's much of a structure to it yet, but there doesn't need to be. The whole religion is information wants to be free and can be free.
Yeah. I'll have to look that up.
That's good, It's interesting, actually, you bring that up, because today I was doing some research on patent trolls. Have you come across that?
I've heard of who was it that mentioned it? I think it was Neil Cannon from V Radio. He mentioned about patent trolls. Just I think he used the term lawyering up and suing the shit. No, it was you actually who mentioned it.
Was it me?
Yes.
We control a little bit more what I say, I think.
Yeah. No, it was during your Innovation War presentation.
Oh, did I mention it there?
Yeah, about patent trolls.
Yeah, no, I was reading I found some other good stuff from Gizmodo. That's right, I originally had loads more on patent trolls in the Innovation War. I had to cut it out though, because it got way too long. So yeah, Gizmodo did 3 or 4 articles that were wonderful, filled with kind of sources and links and everything about, the world of the patent troll. And they explain, this company has, something like 350,000 patents. They just own them. They're not a software house or anything. They don't build anything. They just own these patents, right? And they're sort of not quite copycat patents, but they're very vague. Yeah, they describe things that are not non-obvious, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're describing things that would seem normal to you, like the touchscreen interface and stuff. And this is where all these lawsuits are coming from. And you end up reading that, something like 3 times the money was made by Microsoft on HTC products using Microsoft patents, essentially, either for direct payment or some kind of fees, versus what they actually made off Windows Mobile. They made 3 times more off owning the general ideas behind Windows Mobile than it is actually worth itself. It's very, very inflated. And just means billions get spent every year that could go towards research and development for astonishing things. Google spent 12 billion on Motorola, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was 12.5. It was a huge amount. They also had to ditch the sustainable energy that's cheaper than coal project this year. You do wonder what would 12 billion plan towards that.
Oh, no.
So that's enough ranting from me.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I guess really the point is, with the kind of society we have that is so proud of this knowledge thing, will we grow from just having knowledge? Well, I sort of have an idea of what we would be, but just to gain your angle on it. But would we truly grow from being knowledgeable, but also being wise with it as well?
Yes, I suppose being wise is knowing how to apply knowledge correctly, isn't it? And I think there's only room for that to grow. I think that's what human beings' general attempts have been. If you look at what it is we're building here, what we're trying to build, we are trying to live together. That is why we do what we do, and wonderful things happen. I'm a huge fan of a lot of the different cultures around the world, in the sense of all the different cultural productions, all the books, all the rest of it. I never have enough time to read all of it. But look, at least I can carry around all those books on a small phone now. This is a good tendency.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a good tendency. And future wisdom will be that everyone by default owns every book ever written and could read it at any time. It's that kind of, society we're talking about. We want good things, and it's okay to want that. And we think that you actually want it too, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely. Right. Well, I'm afraid we've run out of time now. So, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me, Ben.
No problem.
You're very welcome. We'll definitely have to, get to the next part of this. As for my next podcast, ladies and gentlemen, I normally know exactly what I'm going to do for next show. I think next time I'm going to be doing some Q&A, quite possibly. So you'll have to keep a watch out for that. But, as for me, it's goodbye and good luck. So say goodbye, Ben.
And indeed, good night and good luck from me as well. Cheers for listening.